So here we are again, yet another amplifier hoping for your attention. More importantly, aiming to impress you with, I don't know, some kind of special sauce. No, it's not the instantly recognizable brushed aluminum chassis, the charcoal gray vented front panel, nor is it the other design elements that everyone is familiar with and has seen before. I mean, look, we've had Ager, and we also have Vidar, so why should anyone care about another amplifier from Schiit Audio? And with a warm welcome back to New Record Day, that's exactly what we're going to find out. Designed for an overbuilt endgame audio experience, the Schiit Audio Tyrs are American-made monoblock amplifiers that are balanced. They feature what Schiit has labeled as Nexus Continuity Topology.
It's produced by the modal interaction of magnetoreluctance and capacitive diractance.
And if fancy pants marketing words makes you feel uneasy, house 350 watts into 4 ohms and 200 watts into 8 ohms sound to you.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
And if that's not enough, these amplifiers also incorporate old school technology, a choke input power supply with a massive power transformer. Taking a look at the front of the amplifier, the Tyr offers a simple push button for power, and that's that. On the back, you will find your choice of single-ended or XLR balanced inputs with a toggle switch to engage the input you have chosen. Above the inputs, there is a rocker switch for the mains and, of course, an IEC inlet for power. Finalizing the business end, we have, of course, 5-way binding posts for speakers, and with that, 5-year warranty. Now, that is a company that is willing to stand behind their product, and not to mention, 15-day trial period. See if you like the Tyrs. Are you gonna need 15 days? I don't know about you, but not this cowboy. And I should mention, now, right now, is a great time to put on a pair of headphones. You know, he's not wrong. We just talked about the Encores. We talked about the 2.4s, and he's right. I mean, with the Bullies, that woofer is being handled by a direct servo plate amplifier. So Tyrs are only powering that top module. Couple of small woofers in that tweeter. Super high sensitivity, and I think it sounds awesome, but Oh, I know. Spatial just sent me the latest revision of the X4s. I pull speakers deep into the room, but you don't have to go to the extreme. I mean, heck, when we had Kaladins in here, we had them 2.5 feet away from the walls, and they sounded freaking awesome. So I don't know what this guy is smoking. Ooh, I know. This'll get him. This one's gonna get him. CSS Audio Typhons. Let's try those. Nine months is a long time to wait. And indeed, that's how long you guys have been waiting for this review. The truth is, my opinion was solidified a long time ago, but with the sound shed being under construction and finally done, I just needed to hear these amps in a controlled space before pressing the publish button. Now that we are finally here, and I am absolutely certain that I know exactly what these amplifiers sound like, let's settle in and chat about the last solid-state amplifiers that you need, or that I need. Probably. When searching for the perfect amplifier, and let's be clear with our words here, a solid-state amplifier with plenty of headroom, tons of power, and enough dynamic control to keep any hardcore audiophile happy, it seems that most of us are probably searching for the exact same thing. What we want, ultimately, is an amp that, first of all, tells the truth. I mean, if we want an amp that lies or tells us sweet sounding lies, then by all means, get an Aedger. And you know what? That is still one of my favorite amplifiers out there when you want to hear that smooth and silky Class A presentation. But the truth? Well, now that's the reason that the Tyrs exist, and perhaps even Vidar, which are probably closer to the razor's edge of precision without Pinocchio getting his grubby hands on what we are trying to hear in the music. The top end of the Tyrs, and while I am at it, everything in the time domain sounds clear and focused with these amplifiers. Air and extension is easy to pick up on, and hearing all the spatial cues of something mixed well, with plenty of side information that's panned out, not only has space between the notes, but a clear and concise line that separates each instrument or vocal. Many of these elements are dictated by an amp's ability to play with precision, and that precise, clean cut, or razor's edge is always a good sign of an amp that is less interested in smooth and more interested in, again, precision, all pointing to a clean and concise top end. The leading edge of upper harmonics and spatial cues heard in the Tyrs is the equivalent of the 4th of July every single time that you turn these amplifiers on. Packed with detail, the Tyrs are going to wow you with an abundance of little nuggets, especially on top, that time and time again will have you saying to yourself, you know what? I don't know if I ever heard that little tiny part in this song before. Now look, I know what you're thinking right now. Does this mean that the Tyrs actually sound bright? That is a good question, but let me serve that right back at you. Is the recording bright? Yeah? Well, the Tyrs aren't going to lie to you, but let's remember this. Taming those recordings, bright recordings, is possible with throwing some tubes in your front end, but alas, let's not get off track and just stay focused to the fact that the Tyrs are the god of war for a reason. They do not give a flying flip if you think that cymbal hits are supposed to sound like fluffy unicorns and puppies playing frisbee in a field with Jack. You know Jack down the street? Jack has a sound bar, and he's playing frisbee with a unicorn, a fluffy unicorn. It's not what a cymbal hit's supposed to sound like, Jack. Jack, he's the worst. No. With the Tyrs, Keith Moon is going to jack you up. Neil Peart is certainly going to jack you up. And for crying out loud, John Bonham is really going to jack you up. So if this all makes you sad, then get a box of Kleenex. I don't know what else to tell you. And neither do the gods of war. So the top end is the truth. It is clear, it is vivid, it is crisp, it is clean. It's voiced to whatever the input signal is telling it. Nothing syrupy here, nothing euphoric, nothing soft, nothing delicate, and heck, nothing reminiscent of baking bread, mac and cheese, and warm and cozy nights while listening to Grandpa's tube amplifiers on a pair of Advents. No. The Tyrs, combined with big, bad-to-the-bone speakers, will lead to head-banging, toe-tapping good times faster than you can spell AC/DC. The mid-band performance of the Tyrs is incredibly clean. It's focused and it's packed with presence. It's as if these gods of war know when you want the thunder, and when you feel like moving into the rock arena, they bring a little more presence and energy to the mid-band that blends perfectly with that honest top end that we just talked about. Vocal content is the real standout with the Tyrs, especially the top end of male and female vocals, blessed with a little more precision, making it easy to follow every single lyric and sing along with ease. In the same bandwidth, a lot of electric guitars stand out as well, with clarity, definition, and vivid edges, making the Tyrs one of the best amplifiers that I have heard if catching on to all the little details in the upper mid-band is what you crave. These will absolutely do it, and they will do it with the best of them. Now, what's interesting is that when backing off the gas and trying something that's a little bit more relaxing, while the Tyrs don't change their tonal characteristics, it's that precision and definition that tends to work equally well when trying to chill out and relax with the music. As an example, if you listen to Lord Huron's Lonesome Dreams or Ben Howard's Every Kingdom, it dawned on me that the same thing that blessed us with the Tyrs' presence in the upper mid-range also works equally well here. In this example, what were blazing electric guitars now become the top end of percussive instruments and the top end of acoustic guitars, which has the tendency of lighting up the soundstage like little fireflies. With that cutting-edge separation that I mentioned before, again, you are treated with a stop-and-go-like performance, with everything in the stage having its own distinct space, void of any smearing or bleeding between the other instruments. In short, while the mid-band of the Tyrs is also telling the truth and does not sound, again, think of all of the dumb words us audiophiles making up about something sounding smooth or warm, which doesn't belong in this review. The Tyrs simply stand proud as a clean, transparent, honest, refined, and powerful amplifier, prepared to do one thing and one thing only: let you hear the music without an ounce of nonsense being added to the signal. And folks, how in the world can that be a bad thing? That's right, it can't. With the name Tyr, meaning God of War, the ability to drop bombs and bring bass impact to the sonic party must come with the package. And if it doesn't, well, we might as well phone in this review and tell Schiit Audio to go and kick rocks. As luck would have it, no rocks are needed to be kicked anywhere in this conversation. While I do think the Burson timekeepers that I also love so much might pick a serious fight with the Tyrs in bass territory, the Tyrs aren't slinging pea shooters by any stretch of the imagination. No, the Tyrs can drop bombs and at the same time bring enough energy to remodel a wall or two if asked. And I'll also mention that while bass impact and depth are tricks that the Tyrs have up their sleeve, so is detail and refinement in bass texture and tone. Now look, This is more indicative of a speaker, but even still, the Tyrs don't hold anything back. If hearing the smack of a kick drum is what you crave, well, no problem. If hearing the depth, tone, and rich complex harmonies of a stand-up is what floats your boat, again, piece of cake. If soundtracks are your jam and you want the walls to shake and the ground to shake and the roof to cave in while listening, well, then see a therapist. But yeah, the Tyrs can probably do that as well. So one of the things that I mentioned 9 months ago with the Tyrs is just how deep and wide they sounded in my old listening room. In the shed, that's still true depending on the music. This is worthy of repeating again, that when you want to rock out with something exciting, the Tyrs don't necessarily make that space larger than what the recording is telling them it sounds like. But when the recording does sound big, the Tyrs show up and do exactly that. I think because of how precise and clean these amplifiers do sound, the highlight for me isn't necessarily how deep or how wide the stage sounds with the Tyrs, but how vivid and correct everything sounds within the stage itself. That's what has me all jacked up about the Tyrs. Let me give you a specific example. Try Constructive Interference from Dominique's album, Stay Tuned. At the beginning of the track, you will hear her using the sound of taking breaths as a rhythmic element of the song. What's mind-blowing is, on the Tyrs, this was the first time that I caught on to the fact that not only are the breaths themselves in two different locations, I've heard that a million times, but there's actually a difference in depth of the breaths as well. I mean, it's been there the entire time, but I just never noticed it so clearly as I did with the Tyrs. In fact, it was within seconds of the Tyrs playing this song that I paused the music and literally said out loud, "Wait a second. Let me hear that again." These are the moments that always bring me right back to the roots of this whole audiophile thing. When I'm hearing a song that I've heard a million times in a different light or a different way, and man, with the Tyrs, this is something I know with all my heart you guys are going to love about them, and has been one of the most memorable things about this amp's capabilities. And there we have it. No shit, the buck stops Tyr. And with that, another review complete, with many more on the way. Now, despite the cinematic flair and the quirky moments in this review, let's not forget the heart of it all. Every word that I uttered reflects my genuine love and adoration for these amplifiers. I mean, of course, Mike and Jason bribed me in a shady alley with a half-used Bahama Bucks punch card and a cheese pizza for positive comments about the Tyrs, but lucky for them, they're the real deal. So, if you enjoyed this content, toss a like and subscribe, and until then, I'll see you shit-loving audiophiles in the next video. Oh man, I gotta put all this crap back.